Physical strength can never permanently withstand the impact of spiritual force. Franklin D. Roosevelt. You are a spiritual being trapped in a physical body, not a physical being acting as spiritually. Sadhguru. In this class, we will be reapproaching gentle fitness that will encourage the body to strengthen, tone, and stretch, reigniting the body to awaken and re-prepare itself for other physical activities. Whenever you're ready, grab your mat, your water, and let's begin. Alright everyone, we're starting out nice and easy in a hero's pose. You're going to reach your left arm up and overhead, your right arm stays grounded. You can absolutely look down at your right hand, or you can look up past your left arm. Just make sure that your chest is nice and open. Right now we're focusing on stretching out our lats and our waist. Now we're switching sides. Left arm comes down, right arm up overhead. Continue looking at the ground, or look past your right arm. Coming back to center, we're shifting our weight over to the left side of our feet. Your left arm comes up and overhead. Now we're just intensifying the same two stretches we just did. Once again, you can look down at the ground or up past your left arm. And now we're shifting back, shifting off center on our right side, reaching our right arm up and overhead, left hand stays grounded, and re-intensifying the right side stretch. From here, coming over into your tabletop position, just all fours, hips over knees, shoulders over wrists, just coming into a gentle cat-cow. And now to challenge the balance, you're going to extend out your right leg, extend out your left leg, so opposite leg, opposite arm, into your bird dog. Adjust where you need to if you need to. Keeping your core nice and tight, your stomach to your spine. It's okay if you wobble and flop around. Now you're going to grab onto your right side foot with your left hand. Right now we're just focusing on a gentle quad stretch, whether or not you do feel anything. From here, lifting up as high as you can. As you can see, I barely reached another 2 inches in height, but that's fine. It's more about what you're feeling in this posture versus how high you get your leg. You definitely want to kick your right leg up to the sky while pulling up with your left hand. And now returning, we're going to swing our right leg to the front into our low lunge. Now we're just sinking into our low lunge, hips coming to the ground. I've really got my left toes pre-tucked because we are going to be coming up into a triangle pose. Now coming up to your triangle pose, just to officially stretch out our right hamstring and calf muscle. And then coming back down into a high lunge. You're keeping your hands grounded, but you're keeping your left knee off the mat. This is going to help activating the legs. Now coming back up to your triangle pose. Make sure that your left heel is lifted. And you're laying your chest as close to your right thigh as you can. We're sinking back down into our tabletop. And I'm doing the same thing on the other side. This time, left leg extends, right arm forward. So another bird dog. Right now we're just establishing balance, tightening up that core. And you're going to reach in and grab your left foot with your right hand. Right now we're just focusing on quad stretch. And it's still more than okay if you're wobbling around like crazy. Now, to the best of your abilities, you're going to lift up your left leg as high as you can by pulling it up as high as you can, even if your leg moves no more than 2 inches in height. Again, it's about feeling the height, not so much of looking high. Holding for as long as you can. It's fine if you're wobbling around like a fish on dry land. Kicking your left leg forward now into your low lunge. Your hands are grounded, your right toes are pre-tucked. Just sinking your hips down, giving the right hip flexor a nice stretch. From here, pushing your way up into your triangle pose. Right now we're focusing on stretching our left hamstrings and calves. Make sure that your right heel is lifted from the mat. And your chest is coming nice and close to your left thigh. Sinking down into your high lunge. Keeping your right knee off the mat. Unless you do need to drop it, try to challenge yourself to a straight leg. Pushing back up into your triangle pose. Sinking back down to the low lunge with the knee dropped. This time coming into tabletop and repeating the cat-cow. Tucking your toes and pushing up into your downward dog. I'm just going to relish in our basic downward dog just for a few breaths. Make sure that your fingers are spread and engaged, your elbows are pointed towards the mat, sternum comes towards the mat, and now we're walking out our downward dog. If you'd like a lot more movement than this throughout the shoulders, throughout the spine, by all means get playful. Otherwise we're just moving nice and gently and easy with a simple walk out. Now mid-walk you're going to start walking towards the top of your mat, however many steps that takes, into a gentle forward fold. And now rising up into your mountain pose, reaching your hands up to the sky, put your hands in front of you, and then just relaxing your arms by your side. Just going to take a nice, deep, easy, awakening breaths. From here, stepping your feet at about mat width distance, hands up and overhead, you're going to sink your hips down to your heels or as far as you can get into our Yogi Squats. So not necessarily doing sumo squats that requires the feet being much wider and your knees being pointed outwards. Just coming into some gentle yet some challenging Yogi Squats. Reaching your hips as low as you can, but if you only come about halfway, that's fine. And just one more, and coming in to your plank. You can either step back or jump back. Now we're going to hang out in our plank just to ignite the arms, feel the energy through them, through the shoulders. Engaging into your core, tightening up your glutes. From here, shoulder taps. You're going to shift your weight gently and subtly, side to side, tapping opposite hand, opposite shoulder. Now you're going to switch your planks over to one side to the other, keeping your hips about shoulder level, and the non-supportive arm comes up to the sky. Your feet, however, can remain with just a bit of a space in between for balancing purposes, or as you come to the side, you can stack your feet. Try to also keep your hips nice and low, such your one stationary movement. Now coming into your chaturanga, all the way up to upward facing dog, and we're going to hang out in this upward facing dog for quite some time, just to give the arms a chance to settle down, the heart rate to come back down. So now we're pressing our way back up into downward facing dog. By the way, the whites that you can see by my waist are doubled up on leggings, so the grey leggings are slipping a bit, really my white leggings. From here, adjusting yourself if you need to, you're going to reach your left arm to your right calf. If you can't reach your calf, go for your thigh, but see if you can't challenge yourself to grabbing your calf. Then switching out sides, right arm to left calf, or once again your left thigh in this case, but if you can, reach for your left calf. Now returning back into your plank now. From plank, knees, chest and chin, pressing your way up to upward facing dog, and we're going to do exactly that a few times over. Back up to downward facing dog. Rolling through to your plank, knees, chest and chin, pressing up, upward facing dog, back to your downward facing dog, rolling back through to your plank, knees, chest and chin, pressing back up to upward facing dog, back to your downward facing dog, back through to your knees, chest and chin, this time baby cobra. A subtle lift of the head and the shoulders, gently pressing into your hands, but really we're just allowing our arms to settle back down and bring our heart rate back down. From here, you're going to adjust your left arm to a 45-degree angle next to you, shifting your body weight so your right leg comes back behind you. Either your left hand tense and supports, or comes up to the sky, or behind you. Right now a subtle stretch throughout your right shoulder, but mostly we're focusing our left shoulder stretch. Now coming back through the center, you're going to switch your right arm to a 45-degree angle, your left leg behind you, your left arm into supports, comes up to the sky, or behind you. So feel free to adjust your right arm around as many times as you need to feel a juicy stretch, and your body weight will help to intensify it. Back through the center, then you're going to press your way back to your child's pose, either knees together or far apart, mat width distance. It's going to breathe nice and deeply, really relax yourself. Then you can slide yourself forward to your puppy pose. Make sure that your arms are shoulder width distance. I choose to grab onto my mat so I don't slide too far forward. Make sure that your hips are above your knees. So two options here, palms together and up and overhead for a tricep stretch. If you don't feel anything from that, what you can also do is tuck your toes under and gently press your legs up. It's like a downward dog puppy pose variation. It might feel absolutely foreign to you at first, might even feel invasive, but the more practice you put into it, the more neutral it'll feel. Still challenging and a lot of compression to the chest, but it's definitely a posture worth it because it actually helps to stretch out your spine where you didn't know you needed to be stretched. So from our puppy pose now, we're going to press ourselves all the way up as however you see fit into your downward dog. Holding here for a breath, and now slowly walk your way towards the front of your mat again. As many steps as it takes. So back to your forward fold and then reaching all the way up to a few sun salutations. Arms up and overhead to your prayer. Repeating that, bringing your hands up and overhead, back to prayer. One more time, up and overhead to your prayer. From here, stepping your feet hip width distance, you're going to come into some chair squats. Hands stay up and overhead. Just continue doing some chair squats. I'm not going to tell you how many to do, you're going to decide how many you can see yourself through. Now widening your feet out to mat width distance, you're going to come back into your yogi squats. Still keeping your hands up and overhead, sinking your hips as low to your heels as you can. Returning your feet back to hip distance, back to chair squats, still keeping your hands up and overhead. You can also bring your hands to prayer hands if you need to give your shoulders a break, but otherwise push your way through with your arms and up overhead. Back to mat width distance for your yogi squats, as deep as you can manage. It is fine if you only come about halfway. From here, bringing your feet back together, back to your forward fold. Now we're going to come into a ragdoll, so grabbing opposite hands, opposite elbows, and just gently sway side to side, allowing your legs to settle back down for being worked. Allow your head to completely relax. Now from here, replant your hands. Your left foot comes in front of your right foot, and your right foot steps all the way back, adjusting your left foot however you need to into our pigeon pose. Adjust yourself as many times as you need to, reaching your head up, straightening through your back, and bringing yourself all the way down. Making sure that your hips are square. You decide how far forward or how far back to your thigh your left leg sits. Make sure that your right leg is somewhere in the middle of the mat. And we're just breathing, relaxing, and we're stretching out mostly our left glute in this particular posture. And now coming back up, we're actually going to do a T-band stretch, so keeping your left foot right where it is. And now coming back down to your active pigeon, meaning your right leg stays engaged, your right knee off the mat. Now pressing back up to your T-band stretch, it's like a triangle pose, but your left foot is far off the side of the mat. So breathing, stretching, and now we're just going to wiggle our left foot to the center of the mat. Just your right foot if you need to as well. Planting your right hand right on the outside of your left foot, or balancing is too much of a factor. You can just keep your right hand to the middle of your mat. Reaching your left hand up to the sky into a revolved triangle. And now reaching back to the ground, stepping forward again. This time, right foot in front of left foot, kicking your left foot back, and seeing your way into your pigeon pose on your right side. So you decide where your right foot sits, how far forward to the front of your mat, or how far back to your left thigh. Making sure that your left leg is in the middle of the mat. Bringing yourself all the way down. Now we're focusing on our right side glute stretch. So breathing nice and deeply. The deeper that you breathe, the more that your right glute will stretch out. Now we're coming up into a right side T-band stretch. Keeping your feet right where they are. You can bring your fingers a little bit closer to your feet if you need to, and then step your hands forward a bit so that you can come into your active pigeon. One side will always be a little bit more flexible and a little bit deeper than the other. Back up to your T-band stretch. Adjusting your hands backwards towards your feet if you need to, as well as to tent fingers. I just find that helps to give me a lot more support. Now shuffling your right foot to the center of the mat. You're going to plant this time your left hand on the outside of your right foot, and your right arm comes up to the sky. To the best of your ability, that's not the easiest pose to stretch out in or balance in, but now you're on your right side revolved triangle. Now bring both hands down, stepping back to your downward facing dog. Just breathing, relaxing. Now dropping your knees into your child's pose. Breathing even deeper allowing your heart rate to come right down. Gently pushing your way back up into your hero's pose at the back of your mat. Knees can be together if you like, hands on knees. And now reaching up to the sky from some hero pose seated sun salutations. Hands to prayer. Reaching back up. Hands to prayer. One more time for good measure. Hands up overhead. And to your prayer. Thank you all so much for flowing or just watching. Just gonna bow down to yourself. Seeking so much gratitude for yourself for reigniting your body, getting back into the fitness game. I always like to do a little bit of gentle yoga of this particular sort, right before I actually do any fitness. It helps to seemingly reset my body if I've been out of the HIIT fitness game. So if you did enjoy this flow, be sure to let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed this flow. Whether you just watched it or you just had to join in. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you for the rest of my videos. Namaste.